Hi, everyone. I'm Courtney.
And I'm Brienne.
And you're listening to the
Just Haunted House Things podcast.
Okay. So, hey, Brienne.
Yeah?
We have someone very special on the podcast today.
I'm so excited. Tell me all about it.
I'm really excited. Their name is Hayley Mullins.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope I'm saying that last name correctly because I sometimes mess that up.
That's okay.
I'm
We will be
thumbs
corrected.
Up. Okay. They have been a scare actor for at least 7 years. We're really excited to hear from them.
Nice.
They started out in Nashville Nightmare,
Ooh.
and then moved onwards towards Halloween Haunt at Cedar Fair at Kings Island.
Nice.
With Cedar Fair. And then now, from my understanding, and I'll get corrected if I need to, is at Howl-O-Scream in Florida with SeaWorld.
That's like hella awesome.
That's a pretty cool progression.
I feel like anything that involves underwater is scary. So go SeaWorld.
Go SeaWorld.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll let, like, you know, we've talked Hayley up enough right now, but
yeah.
we'll give the floor to Hayley here. And the floor is yours, Hayley. Tell us all about it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And thank you so much for having me on. This is such an awesome opportunity, and I love yapping about Halloween and the haunt industry. So thank you so much.
Welcome to the meandering crew.
I'm so excited. Cannot wait to meander and wander. Yes, my name is Hayley Mullins. I am a scare actor. I've been doing so for as of 2025, the last 7 years. And you are correct. I got my start at Nashville Nightmare. And then afterwards went to Kings Island Halloween Haunt, scared there for 2 years. And then currently scaring with Howl-O-Scream at SeaWorld Orlando. And it's just been an absolute blast. So much fun.
That is so sick.
That is so rad.
Like, to hear you go through that progression is actually really impressive because
Thank
not
you.
very many people get the opportunity to go through that phase of like starting where like somewhere smaller and then getting to move into Kings Island and then getting to with the Piece de la Resistance, Howl-O-Scream in Orlando, which like Orlando is a hub for
hell
all
yeah.
of that. So it's very special to know this of someone able to do that. So it's really incredible. First
Thank
off,
you.
I have a question for you.
Ooh.
How did you get started? Like, what drove you to start with Nashville Nightmare? Like, what was the thing there?
The origin. Honestly, gosh, I have to go back. So I would say around 2015, I was in high school and I had a very good friend of mine who had just started his journey here in Florida. And he a couple years later would go on to scare at Halloween Horror Nights Orlando. And he was in the Saw House, and he was the person who introduced me to Halloween Horror Nights, which kind of got things kick-started. I had gone to Halloween Haunt back at Kings Island, you know, growing up, but it wasn't something I was like necessarily like interested in. I was born October, so big Halloween girly, through and through. Yeah.
Yes.
So I always loved Halloween. But he kind of got the gears rolling for me. And that same year, I believe the Saw House was in 2017. I had another dear friend of mine who was in a scare zone called Festival of the Deadliest. And I was just absolutely enamored. And I was like, I want to do what she's doing, what she's still doing to this day.
Yeah.
And she's been in houses and scare zones, like absolutely killing it. She got Performer of the Year in her house this year. So she's someone I greatly admire, and she very much encouraged me to go for it. And so when I was in school in Nashville, I just needed something to bring money in. And she's like, hey, like, see if there's any local haunts near you, kind of get your, feet wet. And Nashville Nightmare at the time had a trail on Nashville Haunted Hayride in Woods, which is pretty much a copycat of Los Angeles Hayride, a little different, very much themed to Nashville. But that's where I started, getting my feet wet and learning the ropes, so to say. So it started there, did that for 2 years. And then you mentioned the pandemic, got sent home, had to finish school at home. And 2021 came along, and I was like, you know what? I'm not doing anything. about done with school. Let's just go for Kings Island. It's my home park, and absolutely loved it there too. So.
Oh, awesome.
That's
Okay.
so cool. What took you to Orlando then?
So Orlando, after I had graduated college, there were some internships that were happening down here in Orlando. And so I said, you know what? I'm not attached to anything. And I was in between jobs as an illustrator. So I was like, let's just throw my name in a hat, see what happens. Got in. So I finished my 2022 season at Kings Island and moved to Florida that same week.
Oh,
Amazing.
wow.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay. I'll have questions about that later, but
No
like,
problem.
yeah, continue. Like, was that kind of it? Like you just got into the intern program and then
Just like ran with it?
So after that, I had finished my program in the summer of 23. And now that I had more time, because during the internship, they were very much like I had to focus on that. So I enjoyed Halloween Horror Nights as a guest, but necessarily couldn't scare. And so I was like, well, I'm free from that. I'm working full time now. Let me just, go in and see what I can do. Put in for Halloween Horror Nights. Didn't get it.
yeah. Hard to
They
get. Hard
have
to
a
get.
very different casting process.
Yeah.
Very much so. And my parents were like literally helping me move into this very house. They're like, well, see what SeaWorld's doing. Like, they're doing House Scream, right? And I said, well, yeah. And they were like, what's the worst that can happen? They tell you no. And I was like, you're right. So I put in for it. This was around August, and the event started in September. So I got in with a video audition. They gave me like 3 or 4 character prompts.
Nice.
Videoed myself doing silly stuff and sent it in, and I was casted into a house the 2023 season.
Nice.
And after that, I had went to other locations throughout the event. I ended up going from being hard cast in a house to then moving on to Demon Squad, which is their spares. And so anywhere there was a hole, they would just put me in that position. So I was in a different house every single weekend.
That's cool.
And that was a great way to like know the event and see different aspects of the event. And I got to be in a scare zone one night too, and absolutely loved it. And since then, I was like, I'm staying with House Scream.
Yeah, that's cool. So you talked about earlier about how you basically finished with Halloween Haunt and then you moved. Now this is gonna get kind of like therapy speak, but like, how did you deal with the burnout of that? Like having to quit, like basically end one, and then move, and then get into the internship. Like you must have had some burnout. You must have had a bit of grief because you're coming down from haunt season. Like, tell us about what that was like.
It was very emotional. Yeah, the cast that I was a part of in the 22 season, we were very, very close. And so, in all honesty, the last night I kind of went out knowing that, I'm not going to be scaring for the rest of the, season with them. Because they had, at my point in the season where I ended, they still had like maybe another 2 or 3 weeks left.
Right.
So I left like pretty early. So I knew, I was like, this is the last night, put it all out there. My sister was there with me recording, capturing all those moments from me. And the burnout was tough. I mean, it's really rough to go from one physical role, packing everything you got, put it in a car, drive 12 hours, and then be immersed in a whole new environment. That was a lot. And I leaned on, the comfort and the encouragement of my friends that was leaving, because it's hard going from one place where you have these connections made already and then literally rooting yourself up and just moving and having to start all over again.
That's really hard. We've done similar things multiple times. So we can relate and like commend you for that. Like that's not easy, and taking those chances is always really commendable and really brave,
especially since like it's not like you were just moving from one town to another. You're moving like an entirely different state, and like So it's so brave because you're going out there, don't know what's going to happen, don't know what's coming your way, don't really have that, as you said, like that support with you in that new state.
Yeah.
And like, of course, you got the support back home because your friends are going to be checking in on you and want to know how you're doing.
Yeah.
But like, when did you feel that you were at home when you moved? Like, what was that moment that made you feel like, okay, this was the right call to make?
It would have to be around the time, I would say right before the end of my internship, heading into the 23 season. I had finally found a space in a group of people where I felt myself with. And it really came for me when some of those friends came to visit me at Hello Scream. That kind of like, for me, rooted that, yes, I'm right where I need to be. I'm meeting people that I'm meant to have in my life. And them showing up in that way was just so, I would say, so important. And they continue to come out. Like this past year, came right back out and hung out in the zone with me, cheered me on. And it was just so great. I'm very, very thankful to have the circle of friends that I have. They're incredible.
Yeah, that's really special.
Awesome.
Oh, that's really
Good
that's
friends.
Nice. Yeah.
Those are good friends.
Yeah, keep it up, friends.
Yeah, or we'll come.
They are. If they can judge me at my most, grotesque,
Yeah.
and if they can come see me at my absolute worst, I feel like when I'm in the throes of it, yeah, those are good friends.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or best, really, how you want to look at it.
They would say best, I think. I felt like I was at my worst because I was unrecognizable.
That's when you
but
know
they
you're
would
doing
say
a
they
good
would say
job.
at my best. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, with scaring, like what is your favorite part now doing it for like 7 years now? Like, is it the same as when you started or has it evolved a little bit?
That's a good question. Yeah, that's a very good
That
question.
is a great question. It's definitely changed. My favorite part when I first started was the confidence boost it gave me. When I first started, I was very like low on self-esteem, didn't really think highly of myself, and National Nightmare, they placed me in an aggressor's role. And of course, there's two very different dynamics when you're an aggressor versus being a victim. And I did not vibe with screaming, saying, help me, all night long. That wasn't me. And the section of the maze that they put me in was very much Texas Chainsaw for the most part, without being Texas Chainsaw, like literally using audio from the movie, but not calling it that.
Absolutely.
And so it was my first
hacksaw. I don't know.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
That's good. That works. Yeah. It literally changed my whole perception of myself. The first scare that I got literally sent this girl barreling into her boyfriend. I said, "Oh, wait a second. Hold on. Something's really cool about doing this." And it just gave me that confidence boost that I needed. And it's still my favorite part, but I think it's changed so much when you meet people in your cast and you can figure out what you can do to change things up and find new ways to scare guests, like utilizing stilt walkers that we had in our zone, utilizing the darkest parts of our zone, the environment, the sets. That collaboration and the excitement to be there was my favorite part.
Yeah.
My absolute favorite part. And it's still my favorite part.
That's cool.
I love that.
Yeah.
That I remember that same point, like you were talking about with your first experience with Nashville Nightmare is like, I remember that same feeling. And like, I think that's how a lot of us start.
Oh yeah. It's like,
hunters.
it's like a bug that once it bites you, you're like, I'm addicted.
You're like, wait, I have this power.
It's the best kind of drug there is. Forget heroin and coke and alcohol. Scaring people.
Give me adrenaline and serotonin.
Absolute adrenaline, pure adrenaline.
Yeah.
But then like the collaborative piece of like how, who, what, where, why, and then the creative aspect of that.
And yeah, and like you said, like the collaborating, like working with the people in their different roles and stuff like that. It's just so much fun because you also get to know these people behind the scenes. So then it's a different kind of trust so that you can really, really play and feed off each other when you're all performing.
Absolutely.
Because you kind of want to not only, I mean, this just might be me. You don't only want to like meet that person, but I kind of want to beat them. Like I want to be scarier. But at the same time, I want them to do well. I just want to be superior.
Right. And I will say this, my cast was just so good this year in Toxic Turmoil. Everyone was there for the same goal. There was no, oh, this person's the better performer, this person's, better at utilizing. No, there was none of that. Everybody was on their A game every single weekend. And I got to give it up for our stilt walkers because I will say they have a pretty hard job, and our stilt walkers are world class. They're incredible. They are so good at setting you up for success that it just snowballs. And gets everybody on the same page. I was very, very blessed to have such a great running partner. She was fantastic. We would tag team left and right, and then sometimes we'd go off and do our own thing. But at some point in the night, we would just come right back together. But I think setting that, tone from the get-go really helped us stay consistent throughout the season because we had a very long season this year. We started in August.
Oh my God.
Just about. So early September, it felt like earlier than that, honestly, how fast it came on. But yeah, we had 2 whole months.
Did you just sleep for like a week and a half after that ended?
Very honestly, my sleep schedule, I'm still trying to repair it. Ever since the event ended, it was just like back to reality. I'm still staying up till like 2, 3 a.m. some nights.
True words of a scare actor.
I feel like something's missing here.
Yeah. Oh my God, that was so funny. Just okay.
The look on your face was the best part. It was just like, no, ma'am.
No. I would be lying to myself, and people who are listening to this would be like, "You're lying."
Why'd you lie to them?
Oh, that was perfect.
That was awesome.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. Okay, so I have a question then. Obviously you say you like more like aggressor roles, which I preach. I mean, I can play like in films and stuff like that, the screamy, whiny girl.
Yeah.
Who's like, oh, help me, the victim, which is important to the story.
Correct.
But definitely prefer to be the person like killing or attempting to kill. So my question for you is like, as an aggressor, what's your like favorite kind of role to scare as? Like, is there like a character or is there a dream character?
Ooh,
a dream character.
Oh, there's a dream character for sure.
I want to hear about it.
Oh, there is 100%. So I am so incredibly lucky when I started with Hayley's Scream to have had that opportunity to see so many different roles. The one I loved the most was this house that we had, which was basically vampires. Essentially, these vampires overtake this downtrodden bookstore. It's abandoned, and it's basically their nest, their hive, if you will. My character's name was Gouge, and she hung out in the hallway, and sitting across from me was this corpse, basically. And they gave me a book. That was my prop. I would slap it shut. And that was a little different being aggressive. I, would snap the thing shut, but it gave me an opportunity to kind of like lean into being more sensual, a little more naughty, and that was a lot of fun. I would say that was the most mild I've gone. At Kings Island, I had a role. My very first scare zone was Shipwrecked, which was a pirate scare zone. Very much started the character progression that year was insane. Looking back at it, I started very waterlogged, not much happening up here. She's kind of, not much is happening. She's just kind of there looking pretty, messing with the captain, starting all that type of drama with the other wenches. And then throughout the run, she just got more and more aggressive and more grotesque. And her character development, I started with it as just like a wench, not much else, just pretty to look at. And then I came up with a story where she was actually a thief, and she would rob her shipmates, kill them afterwards, and she just, with the waterlog, just got more and more unhinged. And I would say this zone I'm in, that was in this past year at Halloween, is the epitome of how aggressive I can get, because I was downright nasty to talk to, not great to look at, and that was just so much fun. So it's been a gradual progression. And I think the role that I had this year was probably my favorite thus far.
That's cool. That's awesome.
I have my emotional support pumpkin here to keep me on track.
Yeah.
So. Does he have a name?
Oh, did we lose you?
What's his
we
name?
lost
yes.
Sorry.
What's his name?
This is Little Boo.
Oh,
that is the Little Boo. Have you heard of Little Boo?
His name is Little Boo.
No.
Okay, so Little Boo is a cult.
This is the guy.
That's there's like a pumpkin. This started in HHN Orlando.
Yeah.
And Little Boo was like part of a scare zone, if I'm correct. And it was a funky looking pumpkin.
Yeah.
In the scare zone, and people, like, someone named it, or HHN named it, and then now they've got merch of it.
I love it.
So it basically just iconized itself.
Yeah.
Little Boo.
Little
nice.
Boo. Yeah. That's,
I learned here, Little Boo.
I love Little Boo. And it's like that alone is like one of the things, like, I wish more marketing teams leaned into, because like when something starts to icon it itself.
Icon it. That's,
yeah, I don't know.
Make itself an icon.
They a lot of the time people don't lean into marketing wise, and then it loses momentum, but people still have a cult following for this thing.
Yeah.
And then, but HHN decided, they were like, oh, we're leaning into this.
Yeah.
Which is really smart.
That was really smart. Yeah. Also adorable. Who doesn't want a little Boo pumpkin? Come on now.
It's so cute.
Yeah. Now, when I started selling this bad boy, I said, I will take 50 each, please, and thank you.
Absolutely. Okay.
Back on track.
Okay. What question?
You mentioned a dream role too.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
Yeah. What's your dream role?
Yeah. What is, because you talked about the roles you've done, what is your dream role?
Mm-hmm. My dream role, I still have a lot on my bucket list that I would like to accomplish. One of those things is indeed not Scary Farm.
Yeah.
In California. Would love to scare there in any capacity. I'm absolutely infatuated with Ghost Town. But honestly, I will take whatever just to say I could scare there.
Hell yeah. That is very understandable. If it was easy enough for us to get visas, we would be
gone. Yeah.
I would have applied decades ago.
I feel like, when we were still living together, we were like, it's a good idea.
Move to California. But it's a lot harder for us to do that. So
also less willing to at the moment. Currently.
Yeah.
Anyways, not gonna talk about that.
But like if you were just like offered that tomorrow, would you have the ability to just take it? Or like, would you take it?
I honestly, in a dream scenario, yes, I would take it. My introduction to Not Scary Farm came about. My cousin, I have family out in California, and she lived in Anaheim. And I remember we were at Kings Island as guests one day talking about the upcoming haunt season. And I was like, haunt's the best. Absolutely love it. She's like, Not Scary Farm's better. And I said, what is that? What is Not Scary Farm?
You're like, you tell me all about that right now.
And so she explained to me, absolutely, and she explained to me, it's their Halloween event. They've been having it since the 70s, and it's unlike anything else. I said, we'll see about that. And I went on YouTube and Googled, Not Scary Farm, and the first result I got was the opening ceremony in Ghost Town. Insane. And then I got one of the houses, which I think at the time was Pumpkin Eater, which is another franchise that we share. with Cedar Fair. So I saw that opening ceremony clip and I said, I want that. Hello, I want to see that. And in 2021, I did indeed go out to California for 4 days and did 4 nights at Not Scary Farm.
Nice.
And what's your verdict? Do you think it's
It
better
was
than
incredible.
it's better than Halloween Haunt?
Oh,
You're
10
in a
times, 10
safe
times better.
space. It's fine.
10 times better. There's not even a discussion. There's no discussion there. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's a pretty good one. I saw it back in, when was that? 2014?
Maybe.
Yeah, I think I was lucky enough to get sent out, and they put us up for a night, and we got to see Not Scary Farm, and that was pretty cool. And I'm about to say something controversial.
Oh, I love it. I'm excited.
This is gonna maybe piss off Disney files. I think Knott's has better churros.
You know what? I'm a churro lover, and when we went to Disney, not like those years ago, the churro was good, but I have had better, and I say that with a little fear.
Honestly,
Hayley knows.
No, I actually agree. Because, yeah.
Yes.
I agree 100%.
Us ladies got to stick together.
That's so funny.
Yeah, their food overall, I was very impressed with, and I was like, I wish it was this consistent across the board. And I will say Kings Island has gotten a lot better within recent years. But the food out there and the boysenberry punch was that was mind blowing.
Oh. Yeah, I know.
Like, so good. It was immaculate.
It's hard to like food at theme parks in general, but then just like Not somehow sprinkles magic on everything, and I'm like, okay,
it's called a crack.
Yeah. I don't know what it was. It might have been the fog juice. It might have been
that's gold dust.
Yeah. It might have been the circumstances. I did have a beverage before.
A little bit of everything. There's some pixie dust mixed in there too.
We can't say pixie dust because it's not at Disneyland.
Yeah.
So
there's some fairy wind nymph dust coating that has been gingerly tossed on top.
Okay.
There's an unspecified powder being tossed on this food, and it just makes it taste 10 times better.
That sounds like a police report after a party. Unspecified powder. What? That's awesome.
We don't know what it is. It just tastes good.
Tastes good.
I've never tried, so I wouldn't know.
Okay, well now we got to go to Knott's.
Oh darn!
Oh, okay.
Right.
Okay, I need to gather myself for a second because that was ridiculous. Okay, so you are now like a roaming character, part of a scare zone. What do you think is the biggest piece of advice that you wish you had prior to getting into working in scare zones?
Man, I would have to say situational awareness. Watch where you're going.
Yeah.
It is so important. So important. And I credit my time at Kings Island at really preparing me for Howl-O-Scream, because guest capacity wise, SeaWorld sees so much more guests than Kings Island ever did. Kings Island is locals. Kings Island is people within the tri-state area. Nobody is coming out from California, other parts of the country to come see this event. SeaWorld, of course, is in the heart of the entertainment capital of Florida. We see so many more tourists, and we had locals, tourists, people flying out from other parts of the country to come, see the event, cover the event. So I really credit time in the scare zones, like learning how to maneuver in, through, around guests, really helping me get prepared for the capacity that I was going to face at SeaWorld, because the foot traffic in this zone this year was insane. There were nights where I had to like stick and hug the sides of the zone.
Oh wow.
And stay away from the middle because there was just too many bodies.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I learned very quickly, like using my peripheral fog. So I didn't want to step on like a stroller. I didn't want to step on like any like electrical stuff we had going out like on through there. And also like keeping, especially with our still walkers, keeping out of their way, making sure they're not stepping on me as I'm going around them, making sure that I was aware, I knew where they were at all times. So yeah, that awareness is so important, and also learning when to step off when you've had enough. Like especially unfortunately, I mean it is a fun job, but it can also be a very arduous job. Guests can act out. Guests have alcohol. That escalates things. And I definitely faced quite a few different scenarios this year where I had to, put myself first. I need to step off. I need to sit out a set. I just, do not feel comfortable being out here. My stage manager was very supportive of it. He was our champion at keeping us safe at all times. And he did not mess around at all.
Good. Love that. That's the type of support that you really need, especially I'm assuming in like the much larger haunt entertainment areas. It's like you were talking earlier a little bit about like your zone manager, your scare manager, and it sounds like you've got a really good like core team above you that's like watching out for you guys. How is that like? What's that like working with so many people who are looking out for your safety?
It was a night and day difference coming from Kings Island. At Kings Island, we had a stage manager, and we would have the zone managers, but they had 5,000 other things to do. And the difference at SeaWorld was when a stage manager went on break, someone else from the area would come in and cover him. So there was always eyes on us. Awesome. No matter what. And that helped me feel secure. And especially on the busier night, it wasn't just our stage manager being there. It was also the area manager. He was there. The police department also there in the zone, keeping sure that, the guests weren't acting out. So I always felt very secure, even on the busier nights, for sure.
That's really nice to hear, because I've heard obviously horror stories
and not the fun ones
from different haunts of just like not having that support at all, and then kind of being left out to dry, which is hard to hear as somebody who also looks after many people's safety at the haunt that we work at. So it's just frustrating when you hear that. So it's great to hear that you have the support at Howl-O-Scream. That's nice.
That's awesome.
I like that.
I love shout out. I love that. The support.
Yeah. Well, you need it, right? Because I
think a less talked about part of the community, right? Is like I think a lot of people could
100%
on like the actors and then the costume designers and the makeup, everything that you're like visually seeing and is right in front of your face. But it really none of that would happen without the people who are there training you, working with you, doing all that background stuff.
And
safety 100% needs to be talked about more. And I have been doing this long enough to see quite a few situations unravel, and it's unfortunate to talk about, but you have to have that in the back of your mind. Okay, if this happens, where am I going? Who am I grabbing? Where is the police? If they're there at the event, where are they? Are they at the beginning of the zone? Are they in the mid part of the zone? Like knowing where they're at. One of the houses that I worked in last year at Hallows Scream, we had a very belligerent and very drunk guest come through, and there was an outdoor portion of the house called Tent City, which was basically a homeless camp, and he just tore that thing apart, like belligerent, just destructive. And I remember our stage manager coming through, and he was like, "You need to get out the house, get out of there now." And sure enough, we evacuated. But it's not the fun part that we don't like to talk about. You know, we want to talk about the scares, we want to talk about the makeup, you know, all the fun stuff. But it's also something that, you know, I had to like really like be mindful of and be aware of. And you know, you can't do your job if you're not, you know, staying safe. So
yeah, no, it's the truth, and I do wish more people would talk about it.
Yep.
I know that it's talked about like between industry professionals, but to have it more publicly talked about is a thing that needs to happen.
Absolutely.
Because people think that they just go to an event and things just happen.
They can just do things.
They can just do whatever. And I'm sure you've experienced this as well, as where people just stop viewing you as a human, right? So that part in and of itself, like that alone is just a risk of just showing up to your job and knowing that people are gonna like you're gonna suspend reality so much, and you're gonna play with their fight or flight, and then sometimes it turns into fight.
And sometimes you have to fight really hard not to fight.
And so like I wish more people were vocal about it, especially on platforms where they have more of an audience to talk about it. And so this is our annual reminder. Be safe. Be safe. And if you're going to a haunt, don't touch the actors, fuckface.
Don't be a dick.
Yes. Yeah.
Pardon my
If you're going to throw hands, you probably shouldn't come.
You shouldn't come,
Damn
man.
straight. Unless they're high fives.
Yeah, and consensual high fives.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll take high fives all day. You want to give me a high five? That's cool.
Hell yeah.
But but yeah, if you know what if you know that you're jumpy and you get physical when it happens, just for everybody's safety and your own, especially, don't come.
Just don't come.
Like, what do you expect when you go to a haunted fucking house? Oh, it's just gonna be rainbows and sunshines, and I'm not gonna like react to it. No, like you paid it. It's always bothered me.
In character, I often reminded people that they paid to come see me.
Yeah.
And they get mad, and I very much remind them, well, I didn't want you here in the first place.
Yeah.
This thing says no trespassing, and you're here already, so
yeah.
Get out of here.
Get on out.
If you don't like it, you can leave, which is what I want you to do.
Go on, get.
No one's keeping you, sir. You can go.
Yeah. It's too funny. Like, I've had a few partners in my past where they'd be like, so you scare people for a living? I go, yeah. And then they go, I can't do that because I get punchy. And I'm like, well, then don't come to my job. Yeah. Just don't come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've also had like the encounter, I'm sure you have had this as well, where like you're letting people into the house and they're like, what happens if I punch somebody? And then you have to tell them like, well, if you do punch somebody, you're getting kicked the fuck out. So maybe either keep your hands in your pocket, keep them behind
and
your
you
back.
might be getting arrested. So
or that. Like there's just so many different things that can happen.
I'm sorry, like what happens if you walk down the street and just someone comes out of a doorway and then you punch them? Like, what do you think is gonna happen?
Like, you wouldn't go to a Subway.
The same rules apply regardless.
Yes. Yeah. At the very least, you wouldn't go to somebody's job at Best Buy or Subway and then just randomly punch them because they stepped out of a space that you weren't expecting. Like, it doesn't happen.
Oh, and especially when you buy the ticket, it's listed within a policy. Clear as day in the ticket.
There's
any sort of behavior, belligerent or otherwise, is subject to getting ejected from the park.
It's true. It's always on your ticket. And
it's right there. When you bought the ticket, you agreed to those terms.
That's right. And also in some places, even before you step foot into that attraction, you are reminded again that you can't do dumb shit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we have it. I mean, I can tell you for sure at SeaWorld, it is posted on every single sign we have as you enter the event, as you leave, entering scare zones, entering houses. It is everywhere.
Yeah.
Same for us.
So you cannot say, oh, no excuse. Yeah.
Literally every single haunt I've ever been to has had something similar where they're like, read the thing, read the policies. Okay, now you can go.
Or they even have the voiceovers as you're reading it. They're repeating it to you for those people who are more auditory listeners.
Yeah. I've even had staff learn sign language for people who might be hard of hearing to tell the rules.
Oh, cool.
So that's really cool. I can't remember.
Yeah.
I'll see if I can find the video that was shown to me. But we had somebody learn that, and that was actually really dope.
That's really awesome.
Really neat. That's so neat. I love that.
Yeah. So well, that was a fun tangent.
Meandering.
I love meandering.
We love it too. Actually, I don't know if you know this, but meandering came out of spite.
It's true.
Oh, did it?
Yeah. So when we first started the podcast, a friend of ours decided to tell us that we meandered too much.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's literally podcast.
Yeah. And then we've just like made it a thing, and we're like, you know what? Screw you. We will meander.
Fine, I'm gonna do it more.
Yeah. And so now we just
that's awesome.
Now it's like our tagline.
Yeah, meandering.
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 In that exact cadence.
Club.
I love it.
Yes. It's the meandering club.
I still think we need merch that says meandering on it.
I could do that.
Okay. I will be the first
one
to buy one.
Me too. Oh, okay. Hayley, I think we should probably wrap this up unless there's anything else you want to tell us in this moment. Now is your time.
Honestly, man, boy, I have just stories upon stories of all the silly things. We were talking about guest behavior. Man, oh man, all the silly scares that I got this year. I had some home runs, I will say. Everybody asks, what's been your favorite scare? What's been your favorite thing that you've accomplished this year?
Yeah.
And honest to God, we had this great scare that lasted like 5. It was great. I scared this girl out of the zone. I pushed her right out, and she was standing on the opposite side. She was with a group of friends. I broke her up, pushed her out. She was stuck on the outside. She did not want to cross back in.
No, right.
And I just sat there. I just knelt, and I sat there, and I was just staring at her. We just had a staring contest, just me and her. And her boyfriend comes to the rescue, grabs her, starts walking her back in. I'm not moving. I'm staying put. I'm looking at her. She walks past me. They get past me. My friend Sean comes out of nowhere on the left, gets them both. They both nearly fall to the ground. It was beautiful. I wish there was a timer. Like, it was just absolutely incredible. One of my favorite scares of the season. Our very last set of the year, we had both casts, A and B. So typically we split up cast. So we have one cast on and one cast is on break.
Right.
We had that last Saturday night. We had both of them out. In our tiny little zone, and it was so much fun. Absolutely so much fun. Got up to so much silliness and shenanigans. Can't think of a better way to close out this season, yelling "Merry Christmas, you filthy animals" as we laugh.
Yes.
Because we were going right into Christmas after, not even 2 weeks later.
Yeah, know, like it's perfect.
So yeah, great times in the zone this year.
Okay, one last question before we wrap up is, what is the weirdest scare you've ever gotten?
Absolutely. Not very fun. In hindsight, really funny. In the moment as it happened, not great at all. We had this older lady coming through the zone, and I had, was just trailing them. Wasn't really like, I hadn't approached them just yet. I was just trailing them. And I came up from behind her onto her side and said something. And she goes, "Oh shit!" And she looks down. She's like, "I literally think I just peed myself." And I said, "No, you didn't." I said, "No, you didn't." She's like, "I just peed myself." Sure enough, puddle. Big old puddle.
My God.
It's always a pee or poo
I was
story.
like,
It's
that's
always...
a personal first.
I love it. Well, congratulations. You joined the urination.
Contemplation. I don't know.
I love it. I love it
Yeah.
personally. Like, getting a peer is like, it's golden. Sorry, I had to.
Yeah. And directing guests around it was
Beautiful.
the funniest part. My sister came and visited that night, taking videos of me in the zone, and she got me saying on camera, "Walk around it. She peed right there. It's a bio spill."
I love it.
Hazard.
Yeah. Don't step in the
You
pee.
know,
Yeah.
hazard as there are in the zone.
Yeah.
Very much. That was a very real hazardous material, not a fake one.
I love it. That's
That's
so
so
good.
We can use it as you did.
Oh, gross. The things we do as haunters.
I love gross.
Absolutely.
Okay, Hayley. Now, if our listeners wanted to find you to follow you along in your stories of working at Hallow Scream and your other adventures in life, where can they find you?
They can find me on Instagram at HayleyM.psd. That is where all of my shenanigans can be found, right there on Instagram.
Amazing. And is there any last parting words that you want to impart onto the haunt community at this time?
Take care of yourself, because there's no event without you. Look out for your cast around you, and have fun. You get to do this for 2 months at a time. Take care of yourself, but give it your all.
Hell yeah.
And have fun.
Thank you so
That's
much,
the big thing.
Hayley.
Just have fun with it. At the end of the day, yeah. At the end of the day, it's just a job, and we get to act silly. It's not that deep. As long as you're having fun, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Love that.
Love that. Thank you so much, Hayley. This has been a pleasure. And yeah, hopefully we'll get to do this again sometime soon.
Yeah, I'd love to do another one.
Get more silly, scary stories out of you. And yeah, thank you so much. That was so much fun.
She is delightful.
I literally could not get enough of Hayley.
Like I'm very jealous. Like, we didn't get to talk on it because I would have gotten angry. But I'm very jealous that she got to work at a pirate hunt.
I know.
Like, that's not fair.
I know.
I want to work at a pirate hunt.
Well, now I got to make a pirate hunt.
Ah, yeah, you got to make a pirate hunt. Yeah. Okay, we're gonna work on that then.
Yeah. Okay. Where can they find us?
Well, they can find us on Instagram.
Yep.
On Facebook.
Yes.
At Just Haunted House Things.
Correct.
Where else can they find us?
At buymeacoffee.com.
Please buymeacoffee.com
for fun.
Yeah. And you can also go get some of our new merch.
Yep. At buymeacoffee.com.
Yeah. And you can also send in requests and send us little notes and stuff like that.
Yeah, we have a whole contact information form that you can fill out, and you can be just like Hayley and tell us all your silly little stories. That'll be great.
I can't wait. All right. Well,
that's it.
I think that's enough for them, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've got what you deserve.
Okay. We'll see you guys later. Thanks for listening.
This is
Just Haunted House Things.